Unique in the Seven Kingdoms is the Night's Watch, the sworn brotherhood that has defended the Wall over centuries and millennia. Born in the aftermath of the Long Night, the generation-long winter that brought the others down on the realms of men and nearly put an end to them, here's a complete history of the Night's Watch. The history of the Night's Watch is a long one. Tales still tell of the Black Knights of the Wall and their noble calling. But the age of heroes is a long one, and the others have not shown themselves in thousands of years, if they ever even existed. And so, year by year, the Watch has dwindled. Their own records prove that this decline has been in progress even before the age of Aegon the Conqueror and his sisters. Though the Black Brothers of the Watch still guard the realms of men as nobly as they may, the threats they face no longer come from the others, wights, giants, green seers, wargs, skin changers, and other monsters from children's tales and legend, but rather from wildlings armed with stone axes and clubs, savages to be sure, but only men and no match for disciplined warriors. It was not always so. Whether the legends are true or not, it is plain that the first men and the children of the forest feared something enough that it drove them to begin raising the wall. And this great construction, as simple as it is justly accounted among the wonders of the world. It may be that its earliest foundations were of stone. The maesters differ in this. But now all that can be seen for a distance of 100 leagues is ice. Nearby lakes provided the material which the first men cut into huge blocks and hauled upon sledges to the wall, and worked into place one by one. Now, thousands of years later, the wall stands more than 700 feet tall at its highest point, though it varies considerably over the 100 leagues of its length as it follows the contours of the land. Beneath the shadow of that wall of ice, the Night's Watch raised 19 strongholds, though they are unlike any other castles in the Seven Kingdoms, for they have no curtain walls or other defensive fortifications to protect them. The greatest and the oldest of these is the Night Fort, which has been abandoned for the past 200 years, as the watch shrunk. Its size made it too large and too costly to maintain. Maesters who served at the Night Fort, while it was still in use, made it plain that the castle had been expanded upon many times over the centuries, and that little remained of its original structure, save for some of the deepest vaults chiseled out of the rock beneath the castle's feet. Yet, over the thousands of years of its existence as the chief seat of the Watch, the Night Fort has accrued many legends of its own, some of which have been recounted in Archmaester Harmoon's Watchers on the Wall. The oldest of these tales concern the legendary Night King, the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, who was alleged to have abetted a sorceress as pale as a corpse and declared himself a king. For 13 years, the Night King and his corpse queen ruled together before King of Winter and Brandon the Breaker brought them down. Therefore, he obliterated the Night King's very name from memory. In the Citadel, the Archmaesters largely dismiss these tales, though some allow that there may have been a Lord Commander who attempted to carve out a kingdom for himself in the earliest days of the Watch. Some suggest that perhaps the Corpse Queen was a woman of the Barrowlands, a daughter of the Barrow King, who was then a power in his own right, and often associated with Graves. The Night King has been said to have been variously a Bolton or a Woodfort. Legend has it that the giants helped to raise the wall, using their great strength to wrestle the blocks of ice into place. There may have been some truth to this, though the stories make the giants out to be far larger and more powerful than they truly were. These same legends also say that the children of the forest, who did not themselves build the wall of either ice or stone, would contribute their magic to the construction. But, as of always, the legends are of dubious value. Here are the 19 castles of the Night's Watch. The Shadow Tower, Castle Black, which is the seat of the Lord Commander of the Watch, Eastwatch by the sea, Westwatch by the bridge, Sentinel Stand, Greyguard, Stone Door, Hoarfrost Hill, Icemark, the Night Fort, Deep Lake, Queensgate, which was once named Snowgate before being renamed in honor of Queen Alisanne, Oakenshield, Woods Watch by the Pool, Sable Hall, Rhymegate, Long Barrow, Torches, and finally Greengard. The Night's Watch, which might well be called the first militant order in the Seven Kingdoms, has divided its sworn brothers into three groups. 1. The stewards, who supply the watch with food, clothing, and all the other things that they need to make war. 2. The builders, who tend to the wall and to the castle and anything else that needs builders. 3. The rangers, who venture into the wilds beyond to make war upon the wildlings. Leading them are the senior officers of the watch, the chief of whom is the Lord Commander. He himself is appointed by election. The men of the watch, each and every one, from the unlettered former poachers to the scions of great houses, cast a vote for the man that they believe who should lead them. Once one man has the greater part of the votes, they get to lead the watch until their death. It is a custom that has largely served the watch well, and efforts to subvert it, as when Lord Commander Runsell Hightower attempted to leave the watch to his bastard son some 500 years ago, have never lasted. Sadly, the most important truth about the Night's Watch today is that it is in decline, which is a time of Game of Thrones. It may once have served a great purpose, but if the others ever existed, they have not been seen in thousands of years and are of no threat to men. It is the wildlings beyond the wall who are the danger to the Night's Watch at the present moment. Yet only there are kings beyond the wall that have the wildlings ever truly presented a threat to the realms of men. The vast expense is sustaining the wall, and the men who man it has become increasingly intolerable. Only 3 of the castles of the Night's Watch are now manned at this time in Game of Thrones history, and the order is 1/10 of the size that it was when Aegon and his sisters landed. Yet, even at this size, the watch remains a burden. And some argue that the wall serves a useful way of ridding the realm of murderers, poachers, and any other criminals, while others question the wisdom of putting weapons in the hands of these kind of men. Wildling raids may rightly be considered more of a nuisance than a menace, but many wise men suggest that they might be better dealt with by allowing the lords of the north to extend their rule beyond the wall. Only the fact that the Northmen themselves greatly honor the watch has kept it functioning, and a great part of the food that keeps the Black Brothers of Castle Black, the Shadow Tower, and East Watch from starving comes not from the gift, but from the yearly gifts from northern lords that deliver the wall. The wildlings, and in the lands beyond the wall, live the diverse people, all descended from the first men. The largest and the most numerous of the various people beyond the wall name themselves the Free Folk, in their belief that their savage customs allow them lives of greater freedom than the Kneelers of the South. And it's true that they live with neither lords nor kings, and they bow to neither man nor priest, regardless of their birth or blood. But they also live meanly and are not free from starvation, from the extremities of cold, from barbaric warfare, or from their depredations of their own kind. The lawlessness beyond the wall is nothing to envy, as any man who has seen wildlings can attest. Their pride in their poverty, in their stone axes and wicker wood shields, and in their flea-infested pelts, is part of the reason that they are set apart from the people in the Seven Kingdoms. The countless tribes and clans of the Free Folk remain worshippers of the old gods of the first men and the children of the forests, the gods of the weirwood trees. The rangers of the Night's Watch speak of still stranger peoples who dwell in the more distant corners of the lands beyond the wall, of bronze-clad warriors from a hidden vale far to the north, and hornfoots who go barefoot even over ice and snow. We know of the wild people of the frozen shore, who live in huts of ice and ride sleds pulled by hounds. There are 6 tribes who make their homes in caverns, and rumors tell of cannibals in the upper reaches of the icy rivers beyond the wall. But few rangers have penetrated more than 100 leagues into the haunted forest, and it doubtless there are more kinds of wildlings than even they can imagine. The threat posed to the realm by these people can safely be discounted, save for the times, once in a great while, when they are united beneath the leadership of a king beyond the wall, as we saw in Game of Thrones. Though many wildling raiders and war chiefs have aspired for this title, few have ever achieved it. None of the wildlings who have risen up to become king beyond the wall have done aught to build a true kingdom or care for their people in truth. Such men are warlords, not monarchs, and though elsewise much different from the others, each has led his people against the wall in hopes of breaching it and conquering the seven kingdoms to the south. The wildling raiders trouble the realm for largely iron and steel, things that they lack the skill to make themselves. Many raiders are armed with weapons of wood and stone, even of horn in some cases. Some carry bronze axes and knives, but even those are considered valuable. The famous war leaders amongst them often sport stolen steel, sometimes taken from the rangers of the watch whom they have killed. Hardhome was once the only settlement approaching a town in the lands beyond the wall, sheltered on Starled Point and commanding a deep-water harbor. But 600 years ago, it was burned and its people destroyed, though the watch cannot say for certainty what actually happened. Some say that cannibals from Skagos fell on them, others that slavers from across the narrow sea were at fault. The strangest stories from a ship of the watch sent to investigate tell of a hideous screams echoing down from the cliffs above Hardhome, where no living man or woman could be found. A most fascinating account of Hardhome can be found in Maester Willis's Hardhome, an account of 3 years spent beyond the wall among savages, raiders, and wood witches. Willis journeyed to Hardhome on a Pentoshi trader and established himself there as a healer and counselor so that he might write of their customs. He was given the protection of Gorm the Wolf, a chieftain who shared control of Hardhome with 3 other chiefs. When Gorm was murdered in a drunken brawl, however, Willis found himself in mortal danger and made his way back to Old Town. There he set down his account, only to vanish the year after the illuminations were done. It was said in the citadel that he was last seen at the docks, looking for a ship that would take him to Eastwatch by the sea. The Horn Lord would follow them 1,000 years after. His name is lost to history, but he is said to have used sorcery to build or to pass the wall. After him, centuries later, came Baal the Bard, whose songs are still sung beyond the wall, but there are questions as to whether he truly existed or not. The Wildlings say he did and credit many songs to his name, but the old chronicles of Winterfell say nothing of him. The last king beyond the wall to cross the wall was Raymond Renbeard, who brought the Wildlings together in 212 or 213 AC. It was not until 226 AC that he and the Wildlings would breach the wall by climbing in their hundreds and thousands up the slick ice and down the other side. Raymond's host numbered in the thousands, by all account, and they fought their way as far south as Long Lake. There, Lord William Stark and the drunken giant Lord Harmond of House Umber brought their armies against them, with 2 hosts surrounding him, and the lake to his back. Redbeard fought and died, but not before slaying Lord William. When the Night's Watch appeared at last, led by Lord Commander Jack Musgood, the battle was done, and the angry Artos Stark, the late Lord William's brother, accounted the most fearsome warrior of his age, gave the Black Brothers the duty of burying the dead. This task, at the least, they performed admirably. And among the Wildlings it is said that Gendel and his people became lost and trapped in the caverns, and still wander there today. Among the histories of the Rangers, however, it is said that Gendel was slain as well, that only a handful of his followers lived to flee back into the ground. And this account is from George R. Martin's The World of Ice and Fire, The Untold History of Westeros, and The Game of Thrones.